to today's session. Thank you. Ma'am, you can start now.
Good evening to one and all. All pranamas to the lotus feet of His Holiness Jagadguru Sri Shivaratri Deshikendra Mahaswamiji. Under his institution, I am working, that is JSS Ayurveda Medical College, Mysuru, and I am the head of the department and associate professor, Department of Thai Chikitsa. So, welcome you all to the presentation on Kriya Kala. Coming to the topic, so Kriya Kala, I think that is the most popular name in the field of Ayurveda, Kriya Kala. So whenever we tell Kriya Kala, I just wanted to give you a very brief introduction regarding this. So the disease manifestation, the doshas has to pass through different stages of pathology. And whenever we tell that the Kriya Kala or the different manifestations of the disease or the pathological stages, where there are 6 such pathological stages are or the doshas are explained here. Okay, so wherein whenever the doshas in a normal state, which is in a normal state, is undergoing a doshas up to the full blown disease. That means with this we are getting the knowledge of the pathological stages or a normal state of doshas up to the full blown disease. So that is called as the Kriya Kala. So with this Kriya Kala, we will get the knowledge of the extent of the doshic vitiation, severity of the disease, and thereby we can plan the treatment, and also it will give you the hint of the prognosis of a disease. Okay, so we get the reference of this Kriya Kala in Shushruta Samhita Sutrasthana Vranaprashna Adhyaya Ashtanga Sangraha Sutrasthana Doshopakramaniya Adhyaya Ashtanga Hridaya Sutrasthana Dosha Bhediya Adhyaya. And as the word Kriya Kala is having two different words, that is Kriya means action or the treatment, and Kala means the time. That means Kriya Kala, the word meaning gives you the meaning that the Kriya Kala means it is the proper action to be taken in a particular stage of the disease manifestation of a disease. So here we get two types of Kriya Kala, usually that is Rutu Kriya Kala and Vyadhi Kriya Kala. So Rutu Kriya Kala means that is this particular stage is the doshas will undergo the natural fluctuations during the different seasons. For example, Vata dosha in its in the Grishma Rutu it will have the Chaya, and in the Varsha Rutu it will have its Prakopa, and in the Sharad Rutu it will have its Prashama. So this is the natural physiological process which will happen in the dosha vitiation. So that is naturally it will happen. It's a Chaya, Prakopa, Prashama. So but why Vyadhi Kriya Kala means, so instead of Vata getting Prashama in the Sharad Rutu, but still further its indulgence, maybe the person with the Mityahara Vihara, and because of the environmental changes, before undergoing the Prashama, still in the further the Vata dosha is getting vitiated, then it will be manifesting into the disease process. So that is why it is called as the Vyadhi Kriya Kala. So this particular Vyadhi Kriya Kala up to one stage, that is Sanchaya, Prakopa, Prasara, that we can divide into the Dosha Kriya Kala, wherein Sthana Samshraya, Vyakti, Veda will be the Vyadhi Kriya Kala. I think, hope it is clear. So Rutu Kriya Kala is the one wherein the normally the doshas will undergo the different physiological or the doshic vitiation. So that is naturally it happens and naturally it will have its own remission. But in case of Vyadhi Kriya Kala, when the same the doshas which is aggravated will not undergo the prashama, but with the further indulgence in the ahara viharas, it will undergo the disease manifestation. So that will be leading to the Vyadhi Kriya Kala. Okay, so as I told, Vyadhi Kriya Kala we can divide, that is dosha avastha and the vyadhi avastha. Okay, so dosha, that is sanchaya, prakopa, prasara. So that is normally we will get. So and then the sthana samshaya, vyakti and veda. Okay. So coming to the sixth stages, as I told you, sanchaya means that is a stage of accumulation of the doshas. And prakopa means the excitation of the doshas. Prasara means spreading of the doshas. Sthana samshraya means localization of the doshas. Vyakti is the manifestation of the full-blown disease, as well as Veda means the complication stage. So with this only we will have a complete idea of this six pathological stages. As I told, Sanchaya means somewhere there starts the dosha will be start getting its accumulation because of the mityahara vihara sometimes, or it may be because of the natural vitiation of the doshas. So similarly prakopa. So once the sanchaya, we are not stopping our mityahara vihara, or the naisargika or the avastika changes will not have its own stop, then it will be leading to the next stage, that is prakopa avastha. Even the prakopa avastha also, once there will be the doshas will have its own natural prashama in the next stage. So if it is not occurring in that particular stage, then the next stage will continue, that is called as the prasara avastha, wherein the excited doshas leave its own sthana and getting, and it will be spreading to the other parts of the body or other through the channels. And in this particular stage also, if we are not stopping the disease, then it will enter into the sthana samshraya or the localization of the doshas. As we know, wherever the kavai gunya is there, the doshas will have its own, its it will settle down and create the different diseases. And the next one is, still we are not having the particular, the remission or the treatment or even the diet we are not following. Next stage is, that is the complete manifestation of a disease called as the vyakta or vyakti, that is the full blown disease. And even till this particular stage also not comprehensively managed, and then still further vitiation of the doshas will lead to the complication stage. Now we will see one by one what are the different stages of the diseases. Okay. So coming to the first stage, I think I am audible, Dr. Anjana, or any students? Am I audible?
Ma'am.
Yeah. So coming to the Sanchaya stage, so we'll see what is the Sanchaya here. That is, the Nirukti says Samhati Rupa Vradhish Chayaha. So Sanchaya or Chaya. Chaya means actually it is the Vradhi of the doshas. So but this Vradhi is in its own sthana. That's why it is told Samhati Rupa Vradhish Chaya. That means the compactness or the compact accumulation of the doshas in its own sthana. If it is loosely arranged, what will happen? It will come out from that particular sthana, isn't it? So it is compactly arranged. Here the Vradhi is there, but the arrangement of the vitiated doshas in a compact manner, so that it is there in the there, or it is present in its own sthana, that is called as samhati rupa vriddhi chayah. Actually here vriddhi is happening, but it is only the accumulation happens here. Okay. And the next is nirukti 10 sanchaya swasthana vriddhi iti. That means the sanchaya means it is in the swasthana, that is the gradual accumulation occurs at the dosha sthana itself. Okay. And here dosha sthana means we know very well, that is tatrasti nisthito vayu pittam tusveda raktayoh sleshma shesheshu. Like for example, vata chaya is means it will be there in the asti, etc. Isn't it? So similarly, sanchayah swasthana vridhi. The gradual accumulation occurs in the dosha sthana. Then he is telling sanchiyate doshaha. Once again, the dosha get collected or accumulated in their own sthana. Another nirukti tells chayo vriddhi swadhamneha. Once all these different nirukti will give the same meaning. That means the increased doshas in their own sthana is termed as sanchaya. Okay. Or the compact accumulation of the vitiated dosha is called as sanchaya or the chayavastha of the doshas. So we'll see how the chayavastha occurs or why there is a chaya. Okay. So what is the treatment, the principle here for the chaya? So we know that samanyam vriddhi karanam. Samanyam vriddhi karanam means the similar qualities will aggravate the doshas. So here what happens? Whenever the person indulges in the similar qualities, for example, vata prakriti person, having the Vatakara Ahara Vihara and the particular season also, maybe it is a Grishma Rutu, then there will be Chaya of the doshas. That means there will be Vriddhi of the things, isn't it? That's why Samanyam Vriddhi Karanam. The similar qualities will aggravate the doshas. So here Chayavastha is of two types. So it may be a Swabhavika or Kala Parinamajanya, or it may be Aswabhavika. Okay. So once again I'll tell you Swabhavika and Aswabhavika Sanchaya. Okay. So what is Swabhavika means, as I told you previously, that is the natural fluctuation of the doshas. This is because of Kala Parinamajanya. So it may be like a Avastika, or it may be Naisargika. Avastika means daily changes of the doshas, or according to the vaya the doshas will get changed, or it may be seasonal. Okay. And the other one is aswabhavika. This is because of the our own mistakes, maybe because of the environmental disaster, or maybe because of the prajnaparada, or maybe because of the asatmendriyartha sanyoga. So we'll see what is the swabhavika. Here swabhavika, we will have two things, that is avastika kala and naisargika. So avastika means, this is very well known quotation once again, that is vayo ahoratri bhuktanam te antamadhyadigaha kramat. So here it's very clearly, this gives a hint that vata, pitta and kapha will have its fluctuation according to the ayu, dina, ratri, bhojana, etc. So, for example, Vata, in the Vriddhavastha, it will get its Vriddhi or the Visheshan. And in Pitta, in its Yavvanavastha, it will have its peak. Similarly, Kapha, in the Balyavastha, you can see the Kapha nature, isn't it? So, similarly, the Vata will have its the predominance in the Sandhya Kala, Pitta in the Madhyana, Kapha in the Prata Kala. And Vata in the Ratri, it is in the Antima Prahara of Ratri, and Pitta in the Madhya Ratri, and Kapha in the Pratama Prahara. And similarly, coming to the Bhojana, so the after the food, the Paripakva Avastha, the Vata will be having its predominance. And in case of Pitta, it is in the Pachamana Avastha, that is during the Jirnavastha, and Kapha in the Amavastha, that is initially after taking the food, there will be the Kapha predominance will be there. So this is how the Avastika Kala or Vayo Ahoratri Bhuktanam, Vaya, Aha, Ratri and Bhukta. So how the dosha have its own predominance, okay, in this particular stages. So coming to the Naisargika Kala, we know Chaya Prakopa Prashamaha, Vayur Grishmadishu Tishu, Vashradishu Pittasya, Shleshmanaha, Shishiradishu. So for example, the Vata dosha have its Chayavastha in the Grishma Rutu, its Prakopa in the Varsha Rutu, and its Prashama in the Sharad Rutu. That means the Vata which got its Chaya in the Grishma Rutu will have in the Varsha Rutu, because of the Shitata, it will have its Visheshan. And natural, it will get its remission in the Sharad Rutu because of the intense heat, right? So similarly, Pitta, it will have its Chaya in Varsha Rutu because of the Shitata, and Sharad Rutu because of the intense sunlight, it will have its what you call the Prakopa, and in Hemanta because of Shitata, it will have its natural remission. So here we can understand that the natural fluctuation of doshas will have the natural remission also. So whenever the disease process will progress because of the Nityahara Vihara, what we are, then we will be continuing it. So that is why we have the Aswabhavika Chaya of the doshas like the Mityahara Vihara, Asatmendriyartha Sanyoga and Prajnaparata. Hope it's clear. Anybody is having any doubt here? Anyone is having the doubt? Otherwise, this is very clearly like no, in your Roganidana, you will study this very clearly, and even the further all other, even Charaka also while reading, you might have come across all these things, and even Ashtanga Hridaya also, isn't it? So I think it's very clear to understand. Okay. But here there is one more thing. So why there is a Chaya in this particular Rutu? For example, now Vata dosha is there. So why Vata dosha will get the Chaya in the Grishma Rutu? For that, the Ashtanga Hridaya Sutra Sthana clearly it tells that Ushnena Yukta Rukshadya Vayoho Kurvanti Sanchayam. The Vata gets its Chaya Avastha if Ruksha etc. gunas of Vata combines with the Ushna guna. So here we will see, for example, the Ruksha guna of Vata may be 50%, maybe a Vata Prakriti person. So 50% of the Vata is there in him, and he is taking some Ruksha Ahara Vihara, so that it is, for example, 50%. So 50 plus 50, it should become 100, right? But then it will become a, in the Grishma Rutu, it should become a Prakopa, but it will not happen a Prakopa. Why? Means in the Grishma Rutu, there is a Ushna Guna. So Ushna is the opposite quality to Vata, isn't it? So what happens? So this 50-50 will become 75 become because of the influence of Ushna Guna of the Grishma Rutu. I think I am clear or not making you confused. So this is very important formula to understand why there is a Vata Chaya. That means the Vata Prakriti, for example, in the next the quotation you can see there, the Chiyate लघुरूक्षादिभिर् ओषधिभिः समीरणः तद्विधस्ते देहे कालस्य औष्ण्य न कुप्यति. So this is even for the PG students are here, that's why I am telling. This quotation may not be much useful for the UG students, but to understand this more importantly or properly, this particular quotation will help you. Chiyate, that means there is chaya because of Lagurukshadibir Oshadibhi Samiranaha. So, because of the Aushada or whatever the environmental factors, as well as the Laguruksha Guna, which is there in the particular environment or in the Aushadi surrounding it, and in the Prakriti, Tadvidas Tadvide Dehe, that means the Vata Prakriti person, isn't it? And Kalasya Aushnyat Na Kupyati. So now you can see here the dominant gunas according to the Prakriti, maybe the Laguruksha Guna, and indulgence in the same gunas. Okay, that is the Vata Pradhana Laguruksha Guna. Then Ushna Guna of the Grishma. So here the two things become 50 plus 50, 100. But because of the Ushna Guna of Grishma, which will have an influence of these two gunas, will lead to the Vata Chaya. Okay, so this is how the Vata before means then undergoing prakopa, how it will become the vata chaya here. Okay, so similarly pitta chaya. So pitta chaya also adbir amla vipakabir oshadibhischa tadrishat pittam yati chayam kopam natu kalasya shaityataha. Actually what happens, actually one thing you may be knowing, in the varsha rutu actually the tridosha prakopa will be there. Okay, so that is a little apart from this, but that is the one thing. Because of the Varsha, suddenly because of the what happens usually, the Bhumi after the Grishma Rutu will have the complete hot in the hot, isn't it? So once there is a sudden falling of Varsha, what happens? Because of the sudden cooling, that will be Amla amla amlata will be more in the bhumi. So that is why the totally there will be tridosha prakopa will be there. Okay, but otherwise also the here the vata prakopa will be there, wherein the pitta will have its chaya here. Okay, so that's why he is telling here that here what happens, the dominant gunas of the pitta prakriti person. So pitta prakriti person will be having the certain the hot in they will be having the what you can call the excessive hunger or something like, isn't it? So the hot gunas, isn't it? So that or the tikshna or the ushna gunas will be there, and he will be indulged in the same gunas like the tikshna ushna gunas. But what happens there is a shita guna of the varsha. So these two things will become 100, 50 plus 50. But here the shita guna, which will have a direct influence of these gunas. So instead of going for pitta prakopa, here the pitta chaya will happen. Hope I am clear here. Okay. So similarly, the uh, kapha. So what happens to kapha? So kapha actually in the Shishira Rutu it will have its chaya. Okay, in the Shishira Rutu it will have its chaya. How the chaya will happen here? He's telling very clearly. Chiyate snigdha shitadibir odaka औषधिभिः कफः तुल्ये अपि काले देहे च स्कन्नत्वात् न प्रकुप्यति. So this is very important. Here the dominant gunas of the according to the prakriti may be a snigdha shita gunas and indulging in the same snigdha shita gunas. And here what happens? So it is not like vata and pitta, but it is something different here. Here also shita guna of shishira rutu. So because here Shishta Rutu of Shishira Rutu, what happens, instead of going for the Prakopa of Kapha, here what happens, still the Shita Guna will have more influence on this particular kapha and it will undergo skannatva. What do you mean by skannatva? Means it is the solidification. For example, you might have seen the ghee or the other some oil products which will become, which is in the bottle when it is in the shita kala, like the shishira and the hemanta rutu, how it will become solidifies. Here also, the even though the kapha here the vriddhi is there, still because of the environmental shitata, instead of getting prakopa, here the kapha solidifies. So it will not have it will not show any signs and symptoms here. It will just solidifies. That's why he's telling tulye api kale dehe cha skannatvat na prakupyati. So before, instead of becoming prakopa of the this particular kapha, there will be because of the tulya deha and tulya kala, that is shita rutu, isn't it? So it will become stannatva or the solidifies. So that is how the kapha chaya will happen. So now coming to the complete the lakshanas. So here he's telling satra sanchitanam kala doshanam stabda purna koshtata pitava pasata mandoshmata changanam gauravam alasyam. So that means here there in the there are some signs and symptoms will start under, happening here in the particular sanchaya. So that is the utility we have to make here. In the for example vata sanchaya, there will be stabda koshtata or purna koshtata. That means feeling of fullness in the abdomen or feeling of in what you can call the some of the stiffness in the abdomen. So stabda koshtata and purna koshtata. Okay. So this happens. So the patient will tell you, or the you they will be telling you about the complete this particular dullness of abdomen or the feeling of fullness of abdomen. Then you have to understand, so what is the prakriti of the person, so what is his diet he might have undergone, or what may be the particular environment. Now you will understand this particular utility of the chaya avastha of vata. So you will here itself you will understand that means here the vata dosha has started its aggravation. So now it is in the chaya avastha. So what I have to give to the particular the medication. So here itself you can stop the further progression of the disease or the dosha vitiation. So similarly, pitta will have its the different symptoms like the pitavabhasata and mandoshmata. So because of the chaya here. Similarly, kapha sanchaya, so here that is anga gaura. So mandoshmata is for the it is actually wrongly typed here. So it is for the pitta itself. For the kapha, it is anga gaurava and alasya. Okay, it is so I'm sorry for this. The manda ushmata, it is for the pitta avabhasata, and manda ushmata for the pitta sanchaya lakshana. Wherein kapha sanchaya, you see the anga gaurava and alasya. When the patient comes to you, you can with the not having any other signs and symptoms, but just they will be telling, I always feel something like a very laziness or heaviness in the body. Then you have to understand that here the kapha started getting its accumulation. So the naturally the person also will have this feeling, and they will be having something like a opposite craving. For example, he is telling very clearly, chayo vriddhi swadhamneva pradvesho vriddhi hetushu viparita gunecha. So chayo vriddhi, here in this sanchaya the vriddhi is in the form of very accumulator, the compact manner in its own sthana. So what happens, whatever the particular ahara or the vihara which is cause for the vriddhi of this type will have the opposite guna, or the that means it will they will have a aversion towards such hetu or karana, as well as they will have a the what you can call uh, the next or the craving for the viparita guna food or the environment. Okay, so here this feature of avastha wherein vriddhi hetushu pradvesha, aversion or dislikes towards the articles or the regimen causing the dosha vriddhi, and viparita gunecha, that is liking towards the article or the regimen which are having the opposite qualities or the to the nidana. I think it is clear. Okay, this is the sanchaya lakshanas. So here that's what once again I wanted to conclude here, that is sabda koshtata, purna koshtata for vata, pitta, pitavabhasata and mandoshmata, kapha, anga gaurava and alasya. And all these things wherein they will be having viparita gunecha. So opposite, for example, vata they will be having for you know the liking towards the ushna guna, pitta for shita guna, like that. And pradvesha vriddhi hetushu. For example, some ruksha items will be might have the cause for the vata. They will have aversion towards such things. Okay. So that is the thing. So what is the importance of knowing Sanchaya here? So by seeing or the by knowing the Sanchaya Avastha, the first and foremost thing is, so here the Sanchaye Apahrita Dosha Labante Na Uttaragatihi Tetu Uttarasugatishu Bhavanti Balavataraha. That means by understanding this Sanchaya, when you do the Apahrita Dosha, that means by advising a proper diet or a regimen or giving some simple treatment, we can stop the further aggravation of the doshas. That's why it is called as Prathama Kriya Kalaha Adhya Karmavasaraha. So this is the particular point we have to intervene. Okay, so with the maybe with the modification of the diet or regimen or some simple treatment. So what he's telling is Sanchaya Aparata Dosha. Once we the vitiated doshas, once we treat in this particular stage, it will not have its uttaragati or it will not go for the further disease process, and the progress may be halted here itself. And if not treated, when they progress to further stages, they again gain more strength and become more intense, and thus making the treatment more difficult. The second line tells the same thing, that is Tetu Uttarasu Gatishu Bhavanti Balavataraha. If we are not treating in this particular stage, the particular dosha will be having more strength with the more indulgence in the same nidana. Okay. And I think you might have understood what is Sanchaya now. So coming to the Prakopa Avastha. Okay. So I think am I audible? Am I clear? Any doubt?
Yeah, doctor, you're audible.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'll go to the second Kriya Kala, that is the Prakopavastha. Okay. So here what happens, the different the Nirukti you can see here, that is Vilayana Rupa Vriddhishchayaha. We have seen the previous quotation like the Samhati Rupa Vriddhihi Prakopa. Both are Vriddhi only. But the Sanchaya Avastha, that was the Samhati Rupa. That is the compact, isn't it? Compactness was there. And here, that is Vilayana Rupa Vriddhihi Prakopa. Now, what happened? The Vilayana Rupa. That means the accumulation is further grown up, isn't it? So now the particular sthana is not enough to capable of or holding the Vriddha doshas. Now what happens? Now it will have its own, no, it will be now start to come up from their start or leave their own place. Okay, so that is called as dissolution or dissemination or movement of the doshas from their own sthana. Okay, Kopastu Unmargagamita. That means the movement of the doshas leaving their own main locations. So Kopastu Unmargagamita. That means it is now ready to move out from their doshas. So why means it is now, it cannot hold itself in the doshas, because now the quantitative and qualitative increase of the doshas you can see here. Okay. And in these stages, the doshas are ready to leave their sthana and exhibits its prakupita lakshanas. Okay. So, and this is for the next, what are the next disease which is going to manifest. So, the very mild symptoms it may manifest here itself. So, he is telling in the next Nirukti, he is telling, Swamargat Anyena Margena Gamanam Kopaha, movement of dosha in other than their primary loci. So, it will leave its sthana, it will go and it will lodge in the sthanas of other doshas. Okay. And swasthanam tyaktva doshasya yat punaha margantara gamanam sa kopaha iti uchyate. Movement of dosha in the other loci by leaving their own primary loci. Okay. So why this is means here the vriddhi is quantitatively as well as qualitatively increased, so that the sthana, the own sthana cannot hold now. So it will start moving from its sthana. Okay. And we'll see what are the different prakopas here. Okay, so the prakopa, again there are two types of prakopa here, that is swabhavika prakopa as well as aswabhavika, where we have seen in case of Sanchaya Avastha also. So the natural fluctuation of the doshas, wherein there are two types of prakopa other than this, that is Chaya Purvaka prakopa and Achaya Purvaka prakopa. So wherein Chaya Purvaka means first there will be accumulation of doshas. For that purpose, we need the Sanchaya Avastha to come, then Prakopa. Okay. So there will be Chaya of doshas or accumulation of doshas. Later there will be aggravation. Okay. And the other one, wherein the achaya purvaka prakopa, when there is no chaya, there is no previous accumulation of doshas. Suddenly there is a right away there is a aggravation of the doshas. For example, I'll tell you. For example, today you are taking ice cream. Okay, today you are taking ice cream, and the next day you are getting sneezing or sometimes sore throat. Okay, little bit cough, etc., and little bit feverishness. So that is that for this the reason is yesterday you have taken some ice cold things, isn't it? So that is the achaya purvaka prakopa, wherein chaya purvaka prakopa you need a continuous accumulation of doshas. For example, some skin diseases. So skin diseases, apart from the allergic reactions or anaphylactic reactions, other things are, it will be, for example, the psoriasis or the Kitiba Kushta or some other things, isn't it? So they will be having its chaya since many long time. For example, cancer, isn't it? So it will have its accumulation of dosha since a long time, and after certain time, it will show its aggravation. So here, what is important here is how will you understand this particular stage? After understanding, how will you treat the disease? If it is a chaya purvaka prakopa, that means a long run of sanchaya, then prakopa, then your treatment will go for a shodhana therapy. If it is an achaya purvaka prakopa, suddenly there is an aggravation of doshas, then you will go for a shamana therapy. So this is how this particular uh, kriya kala we have to understand and intervene here. Okay. So here once again I wanted to tell you what are the reason for dosha prakopa. Okay. So for here the dosha will have its swabhavika prakopa, the vata dosha, that is shitena yukta vrukshadyaha kopam vayoha kurvati. Okay. You can see here already the ruksha guna in the person will be there, and shita guna of the here the varsha rutu, isn't it? The vata prakopa will be there. So if you see here vayu pravrit kale varsha kale cha prakupyati, that means vata will have its natural prakopa in the pravrit kala or the varsha kala. Okay, so pravrit means that is the another rutu wherein we know that is the northern India and southern India will be having a demarkable this thing, wherein the northern India there will be more of Shita Rutu or Shishira will be more, wherein Pravrit Rutu in the southern region, isn't it? That means the Ganga river will be taken as the demarcation here. So below the Ganga, the southern to the Ganga, there will be Pravrit Rutu will be more. Okay. So what happens here? Already there is a chaya of Vata dosha from the Grishma Rutu, and here the Prakriti of the person is also Vata. Still the Shita Guna of Varsha Rutu, and the person also will be indulging in the same, and there will be Vata Prakopa. So this is what how the Vata Prakopa happens. And the Aswabhavika Karanas, Ahara, Katutikta, Kashaya Rasa Sevana, Laguruksha, Guna Shaka, and Manasika like Bhaya, Shoka, etc. And the Vihara like Langana, Ativyayama, Ativyavaya, Atyadhyayana, Ratri Jagarana, all these things will be leading to the further vitiation of the Vata dosha, leading to the Vata Prakopa. Okay. So what happens here? Naturally, it will have its remission in the next Rutu, but in further indulgence of these things, it will have the further vitiation of the doshas. Coming to the Pitta dosha, so here also already there is Pitta Chaya in the previous Rutu, that is in the Grishma Rutu, and in the intense heat of Sharad Rutu, the Chaya already the Sanchita Pitta with the intense heat of sunlight, what happens here? Further, the Pitta will have its hot potency will improve, increased, and the Pitta Prakopa will be there. Okay. And Arka Rashmibihi Pittam Prayaha Sharadi Kupyati. So that's why the intense heat of Arka Rashmi or the Surya Kirana will have the environmental change or the direct influence on the Sanchita Pitta, causing the Pitta Prakopa. Okay. Pittam Sharad Kale Prakupyati. So these are the different quotations. Okay. And Aswabhavika Karana Katuamla Lavana Rasa Sevana, Upavasa Atapa Sevana, and the Manasika Vikara like Krodha. And here in case of aswabhavika prakopa, the dosha may enter into the prakopa avastha directly by skipping the chaya avastha. So this is what I have told you previously, the example of ice cream like. Okay. So whenever the prakopa avastha is there, it may not undergo the chaya avastha. It will directly come into the prakopa avastha. Similarly, kapha dosha, Shleshma gets its prakopa avastha in the Vasanta Rutu. That means Shleshma Vasantecha Prakupyati. Okay. So here already there is a chaya or the condensed kapha accumulation is there in the Shishira Rutu, but in the Vasanta Rutu there will be Ushna Guna. That means because there will be in this particular Vasanta Rutu there will be intense sunlight will be there, and this will be calling the Vilayana or the solidified kapha will gets Vishyanda. That means it will become the Vilayana Rupa, or it will be liquefaction of the kapha happens here. For example, the whatever the ghee which is solidified in the Shishira Rutu, in the what you can call in the Rishita Rutu, it will get in the when there is a sunlight. For example, now this particular season, isn't it? So it will get it's a liquefaction leading to the kapha prakopa. And aswabhavika kapha prakopa, without getting it the sanchaya avastha, maybe because of the ahara vihara, kshiramla lavana rasa sevana, guru snigdha shita ushna sevana, dugdha ikshu vikara, all the kafakara ahara, and avyayama alasya and divaswapna, like the vihara, which will be leading to the further aggravation of the kapha here, okay, leading to the kapha prakopa. So these are once again the different the karanas of the vata dosha prakopa and pitta dosha prakopa, as well as kapha dosha prakopa, ahara janya karana, vihara janya karana, and kala janya karana. And here so the what are the different prakopa lakshanas in the prakopa avastha, okay. In case of vata prakopa, it is koshta toda, that means pain in the abdomen, and vata sancharana, that is increased movement of vata in the abdomen, okay. And pitta prakopa, amlika, pipasa, paridaha, there will be sore irritation, pipasa excessive thirst, and paridaha generalized burning sensation. So all these things, when because PGs maybe might have having the experience, or even the patient will comes to you, how they will come, like no, the sore irritation. So even when you are sitting in the OPD, you can just listen to them. That particular the belching sound you can. So somebody you can understand. So the people have come with the amla pitta like symptoms, isn't it? So like such a intense sore irritation will be there. This is because of the person having the pitta prakriti and the person indulging in the same type of ahara vihara, and further the vitiation of the environmental factor also will be influence here, okay. So in the when you understand this particular thing, definitely you can tell the patient. So because you can ask them, so you will see the prakriti of the patient. For example, amla pitta patient, prakriti of the patient, definitely he may be or she may be a pitta prakriti person, having the indulgence in the maybe they may not be having a regular food habits, they will be skipping the meals. And whenever they are getting, because this particular pitta prakriti persons will be having a very much, by 12:30 itself they will be having their appetite. So by that time only they have to take. If they skip again, it will have a bad effect on their digestive system, isn't it? So 1 or 2 days it will not be a problem, but when it will be continuously the same process goes on, no, so they will be having a vitiated doshas, as well as the dhatus also will include in this particular condition, okay. And there will be paridaha, and the patient will be telling you by telling that I will be having burning sensation. So what you have to understand here is, in this particular condition, along with the dosha vitiation, slowly the dhatus also started now getting vitiated here, okay. So now this is the particular time you have to understand, and you have to intervene here, maybe the modified diet or regimen or with the treatment. So similarly, kapha prakopa lakshana, annadvesha and hridaya utklesha, already there will be, because it is urdhva amashaya, vitiation will be there in the kapha. So what will happen, they will be having a vomiting or a nausea sensation will be there. They may not be having the interest to take food, okay, and they will be having that excessive salivation, feeling like vomiting sensation or nausea. So what happens next? So in this particular kriya kala, so you have to understand, along with the dosha vitiation, there will be the vitiation of the dhatus also. So you have to see the complete understand the situation, and you have to give the diet regimen or the treatment in this particular avastha, okay. So what happens next? So before going to the importance of this kriya kala, I just wanted to understand you. So we have come up to this sanchaya prakopa prasara. So usually what happens means here there will be a natural remission of the dosha vitiation naturally. That is, for example, vata in its sanchaya in the grishma rutu, next prakopa in the varsha rutu, and it will have its remission in the next rutu, that is the sharad rutu. So if why I am telling means that is the rutu kriya kala. Okay, so if at all the person of vata prakriti person doesn't stop his mityahara or the vihara, the further continuation of this will be leading to the disease. Okay, otherwise vata will have its natural remission in the next rutu. For example, the prakupita vata with the snigdha ushna guna in the sharat. So sharat will be having the snigdhata will be more in the sharad rutu, as well as the ushnata is also there in the sharad rutu. So naturally the snigdha and ushna guna of the sharad will be having the natural remission of vata prashamana here. Okay, so similarly pitta. So pitta will have its prakopa in the sharad rutu. The next rutu is the hemanta rutu. So in the hemanta what happens, the manda guna is more, the shita guna is there, or always there is an intake, or the kashaya rasa is also more in that particular rutu. So all these things, as well as the hemanta, there is a shita guna is also there, isn't it? So the manda guna, shita guna, as well as the what you can call the shita and the kashaya rasa, all these things together, it will have its natural prashama in the hemanta rutu. Similarly, kapha which has got its prakupita avastha in the uh, vasanta rutu, it will have its natural remission in the Grishma Rutu, wherein in the Grishma there will be little more heat will be there, and what happens, the Ushna and Ruksha and Katurasa. Okay, so the Katurasa is more in the Grishma Rutu, wherein that particular Ushna, Ruksha, Katu together, it will have the natural remission of the Kapha. Okay, so what happens means in this particular condition, overall what happens means the whatever the sanchaya, wherein the vriddhi in the sthana, the chaya or the chayakarana vidvesha is there, and the viparita gunecha you can see in the sanchaya avastha. In the prakopa avastha you can see the unmarga gamana of the doshas, and even you can see some of the symptoms of the prakopa, and even there is a chances of disease manifestation in this particular, because we have seen amlika, pipasa, paridaha, osha, josha, isn't it? So there is a chance of manifestation of dosha in the prakopa avastha, or even you can see some of the signs and symptoms in the prakopa avastha, and even the dosha starts its movement or the gati, isn't it? Unmarga gamana of the dosha you can see in the prakopa avastha. But in the prashama avastha, what happens, the vriddhi of the sanjita doshas, the prakopita doshas can come back to its normal state, return to its normal stage in the prashama avastha. Okay, and even there will be homeostasis of the doshas you can see, and even the free from the disease. Still in the prakopa avastha you might have seen some of